Hi everyone, I'm AboPP, probably the best Indian Nuzlocker in the world. In this video, I'll be going over my attempts at doing a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed using flying types only. Ah yes, another monotype Nuzlocke, or monologue if you're lazy. What's different about this one, you ask? Well, I've actually made it easier for myself by allowing the use of EVs and Crobat. What else? Well, oh yeah, this is the first run in my series of trying to defeat Pokemon FireRed while doing a hardcore Nuzlocke with each different type in Pokemon. I'm starting off with the flying type because it gives me a great variety of Pokemon and is relatively easier compared to most other runs. As a reminder, in a Nuzlocke, if a Pokemon faints, it's gone forever. Additionally, my rules for a hardcore Nuzlocke are on screen now.
If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a subscribe as that would greatly help me out.
Let's get on to attempt 1. For my starter, I picked Charmander and name her Becky. While she isn't a legal encounter right now, I will be using her after the 4th gym once she evolves into Charizard. My first official encounter and technically the starter of this run is a Pidgey called Carmella. I then catch a Spearow called Charlotte and a Caterpie named Candice who quickly evolves into the early game MVP of the run in Butterfree. For the first gym battle against Brock, I brought Candice as close to level 15 as possible. Geodude can be taken out with 3 confusions, which levels Candice up and allows her to learn Sleep Powder, which with the Compound Eyes ability has an accuracy of 98%, which means we're rarely, if ever, going to miss. And I'm sure that we're definitely not going to miss. Brock's Onix can then be put to sleep and taken out with a few confusions, giving us the first gym badge without taking any damage. I then catch a Zubat in Mount Moon and forget to name her. For the rival fight in Cerulean City, I lead with Charlotte, who has now evolved into Fearow, and Gary leads with Pidgeotto. Fury attack takes care of him, while Charlotte takes some damage in return. Rattata also deals some damage with quick attacks before fainting. For Squirtle, I can switch into Candice, who can put him to sleep and eventually use Confusion to take him out as well. Last, and certainly the least, is Abra, which can't deal damage, so he faints too. Before the second gym, I accidentally overleveled Charlotte, so she has to miss the battle. Misty time, and I lead with Candice into her Staryu. I can put it to sleep and switch to Carmella to conserve HP on Candice, but Staryu wakes up in one turn and gets off a Harden, which isn't good. I then use a Sand Attack to lower its accuracy as a Water Pulse does a bit of damage. Carmella manages to get off 6 Sand Attacks, but at the end of it, gets hit with a Water Pulse which confuses as well. I switch back into Candice, who misses a 98% accurate Sleep Powder and Staryu hits a 33% accurate Water Pulse. Well, at least she hits the next one. After 2 confusions, Staryu wakes up and recovers, so I put it to sleep again and take it out. Misty Starmie comes out, so I put it to sleep but take a nasty Water Pulse in return. I switch in Zubat as Starmie stays asleep but then wakes up, outspeeds and gets a critical hit Water Pulse on Zubat to one-shot her. I was okay with losing her but meant to at least get some damage off before that. I switch Candice back in and she misses another 98% Sleep Powder. The battle's lost at this point and I wipe. That was a lot of bad luck, but with Fearow, I should be able to beat Misty. Attempt 2 goes pretty much the same as attempt 1, except Charmander, Pidgey, and Spearow are now all males, called Kane, Undertaker, and Bray respectively. Candice Jr. helps defeat Brock easily again. For Misty, I now have a team of 4, including a Zubat that I forgot to name once again. This time, I just attack Staryu and a crit gust from Undertaker with some attack EVs are enough to one-shot it. For Starmie, I switch in Candice on a Water Pulse, which confuses and causes a self-hit as she takes another Water Pulse. An Autumn Berry restores her health, but I'm in trouble. I know I outspeed, so go for Sleep Powder, which thankfully hits through confusion. I can then switch to Bray, who can start using Pecks to chip away, but Starmie wakes up and uses Recover. I continue using Peck and Pursuit as Starmie brings Bray down to 2 HP. Pursuit is a range to kill at this point, and I have to go for it, but it low rolls and leaves Starmie in the red as Bray goes down. I switch Candice back in and foolishly use Tackle rather than Sleep Powder, forgetting that Misty can heal. I then do use a Sleep Powder, switch in Taker as Starmie wakes up in one turn and uses Water Pulse for almost half his health. Undertaker gets revenge with a critical hit gust, but a second one leaves Starmie in the red again as Taker is down to 7 HP. I want to save it, so take a risk, which in hindsight was definitely the wrong decision, by switching in Candice to take the Water Pulse, which thankfully doesn't crit or confuse. A Tackle can take Starmie out, winning me the fight against May due to a lot of luck. I now catch a Magikarp named Lance in Vermilion City and evolve him into Gyarados, which would be my second best Pokemon of the run, despite the lack of physical specialists within this game. Yes, you heard that right, second best. Guess what the best Pokemon of the run will be in the comments. I'm pretty sure no one will get it right. Zubat, now called Brock 2, evolves into Golbat and subsequently Crobat. I know what you're thinking. That's illegal, right? Well, that's technically possible through legal methods by trading the Golbat to a Ruby, Sapphire or Emerald game, improving his happiness there and evolving him into Crobat in that game, and then trading him back to FireRed. Let's just assume that I did that. For the SSN rival fight, Lance and Brock are enough to give me the easy victory. Before Surge, I have to bring Kane into my team to use Cut. I also catch and trade a Spearow to receive Chiding, the Farfetch'd, and he has an Adamant nature, which means more attack and less special attack. For Surge, I rely on Candace once again and she doesn't disappoint, defeating all of his Pokemon with Sleep Powder and Dream Eater. I purchase a Dratini named Danielson from Celadon City, which will evolve into Dragonite later. Erika is an easy no-prep victory with Taker and Brock. The level cap jumps to 43, so I evolve Kane into Charizard. For Giovanni at the Rocket Hideout, Lance sweeps using Water Pulses on his Rock and Ground types and Dragon Rage on Kangaskhan. I also evolve Taker into Pidgeot. For the rival battle in the Pokemon Tower, I lead with my severely overleveled Chiding to set up one Sword Stance and one Agility, and then sweep through his entire team with Aerial Ace and Fury Cutter. Easy. Next up is another rival fight, and despite still having a decent level advantage, this might be tough. I lead with Chiding again to set up one Sword Stance, use another on the incoming Growl with Intimidate, and then slash through his entire team again. Chiding really seems to love destroying Gary. The second battle with Giovanni is up next. Candace can take out both Nidorino and Rhyhorn with ease. I then put the Kangaskhan to sleep and get off a couple of Dream Eaters before she wakes up and uses Tail Whip to lower Candace's defense. For the next 3 turns, I put Kangaskhan to sleep on each of them, only for her to wake up instantly every time and use Tail Whip, Rage and Mega Punch respectively, the last of which takes out Candace, who was at -2 defense at that point. So, why did that happen? For starters, I should have picked up that Kangaskhan had the ability Early Bird, which allows it to wake up earlier than usual. I should have also switched out to literally any other Pokemon once Candace was at -2 defense. That death is completely on me, and I feel really bad for taking Candace's life for granted because she's the only reason I made it past the first 3 gyms so seamlessly. My one life ends, another one begins though, as I catch a Doduo named Damage Control. For Koga, Kane leads to one-shot the Coughing with Flamethrower and take out Muck after losing half his health. I switch to Blue Meanie on the incoming Coughing, who one-shots with Hydro Pump. Weezing won't explode now, and 2 Hydro Pumps take him out to win me the Soul Badge. Damage Control then evolves into Dodrio. I can also catch a Scyther named Shotzi. For Sabrina, I leave with Chiding, who is able to get off 1 Agility and 3 Sword Stances as her Kadabra wastes time going for Reflect, Consecutive Future Sights and Calm Mind. Future Sight is only 50 base power and typeless in this game, so it does very little damage, before I can one-shot the Kadabra as Reflect wears off. From here, it's a Chiding sweep for the rest of the battle. If any of you guessed that Farfetch'd would be my best Pokemon in this run, I'm very impressed. I restore the old Amber into Rock the Aerodactyl, and his first battle will be against Blaine. Despite the Intimidate from Growlithe, Rock can one-shot him using Ancient Power, which ends up getting the 10% boost to each stat. From here, it's another Gym Leader swept with just 1 Pokemon. Final gym time, and it's the 3rd battle versus Giovanni, and Gyarados uses 5 serves in succession to win me the Earth Badge. The gym battles after Misty have been absolute jokes, especially with EV training, and this convinced me to not EV train unless necessary for future Nuzlocks of vanilla games. I can finally evolve Danielson into Dragonite. For the final rival battle before the Elite Four, Chiding leads once again to try and make it 3 out of 3 sweeps versus Gary. I get off a Sword Stance before one-shotting Pidgeot with Slash. Rhyhorn comes out, and I decide to go for Slash because it didn't have any good switches, and Chiding gets a critical hit Slash to one-shot the Rhyhorn. He then takes out his remaining Pokemon with ease, and I'm probably the first person to defeat my rival 3 times in a row during a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed with a single Farfetch'd. Elite 4 time, and here's my team. Rock the Aerodactyl, Damage Control the Dodrio, Danielson the Dragonite, Chiding the Farfetch'd of course, Kane the Charizard, and Blue Meanie the Gyarados. Let's find out if they have what it takes to defeat the Elite Four and the champion. First up is Lorelei, who leads with Dugong as I lead with Rock. An Ancient Power brings her into the red as she just goes for Safeguard. Lorelei then heals with a full restore, but a Wing Attack and Double Edge combo takes Dugong out. Up next is Cloyster, who wastes time with Protect, takes an Ancient Power for over half her health, and then uses Spikes, which are utterly useless because I only have Flying types. I use Wing Attack to try and bait Lorelei into wasting another full restore, but she doesn't, so another takes it out. Jinx is one shot with Ancient Power, and Lapras takes a lot of damage with Rock's last Ancient Power. I switch to Blue Meanie to get some more damage in with Dragon Rage, but he gets confused. So I switch to Kain on an Ice Beam and use a Flamethrower to take down the Lapras. Last up is Slowbro, but Danielson walls her and can use Thunderbolt and Wing Attack to take her out, winning me a pretty clean battle. Bruno is next and leads with Onyx, which is obviously one shot by Blue Meanie's serve. I incorrectly switch Kain in on a Rock Tomb from Hitmonchan, which would have definitely one shot if it crit. I then switch back to Blue Meanie, who takes mediocre damage from Rock Tomb after Intimidate lowers Hitmonchan's attack. A couple of strengths can take him out as he misses a Rock Tomb. Machamp is next and is a bit scary. A strength and a surf bring him down to the yellow as he gets off a scary face and a cross chop. I then make another incorrect switch to damage control on the cross chop, which thankfully does not crit. Never punished, I guess. A Drill Peck is enough to take out Bruno's ace and the incoming Hitmonlee as well. Bruno's second Onyx is out and does pitiful damage with the double edge on Blue Meanie as one serve takes him out. I definitely could have played that one better. For Agatha, I lead with damage control against her Gengar, and a Drill Peck brings her down to 1 HP as she uses Confuse Ray. I don't want to lose her yet, so I switch to Jiding, who is much more expendable, as Agatha heals. I set up a Swords Dance as Gengar uses Confuse Ray. I'm not fussed about losing Jiding, so just go for Aerial Ace and Jiding hits through Confusion to one-shot the Gengar. Next up is Golbat and Jiding snaps out of Confusion to get the one-shot. Against the Arbok, I set up another Swords Dance and take a Screech in return, and then an Aerial Ace at +3 attack is enough for the kill. Agatha's second Gengar outspeeds and hits a very hard Sludge Bomb to leave Jiding in the red, but falls to an Aerial Ace as does her Haunter. With that, Jiding has swept through another major fight. It's truly amazing how much you can accomplish by using an expendable Pokemon without worrying about it fainting. Lance is next and promises to be my toughest opponent yet. His lead Gyarados is one shot with a Thunderbolt from Danielson. Dragonair comes in, so I switch to Damage Control, who tanks an Outrage and then one-shots him with the Drill Peck. Attack EVs make everything easier. Aerodactyl thankfully does not get any crits and brings Lumini down to the red before fainting. I had no other choice but to play around the crits there. Kain can take out Lance's second Dragonair and its Dragonite takes a little over half before healing back into the green with a held Citrus Berry. I was ready to lose Kain there, but I'm still happy that his Outrage didn't crit. I switched to Rock, who has special defense EVs which allows him to take 2 Outrage as well and bring Dragonite down to low HP. Another Double Edge should get the kill, but Lance heals. I have to risk a crit now, so I click on Double Edge and Lance uses Safeguard instead. What an insane throw! A final Double Edge gets me the win deathless, even though I expected a couple of sacrifices there. For the final battle with Champion Gary, he leads with Pidgeot and I lead with Jiding, hoping to make it 4 out of 4 sweeps. However, Gary has finally learned from his mistakes and gets a critical hit Aerial Ace as Jiding uses Agility. Well, no sweep this time around, but that's okay. I switch to Rock, who can use a couple of Ancient Powers to take him out. The Blastoise causes some concern with rain boosted Hydro Pumps and Danielson, but eventually falls to a few Thunderbolts. I switch to Blue Meanie on the incoming Rhydon, whose Rock Tomb does decent damage, but he's still slower, so a Surf takes him out. I'm okay to lose a couple of Pokemon here, so stay in on Alakazam's Psychic, which does a lot of damage, but Strength hits hard in return. Psychic also does decent damage on Rock, but a Double Edge takes the Spoon Lover out. Executor misses Sleep Powder on damage control, and Drill Peck just misses out on the kill. Egg Bomb does absurd damage as Gary heals, but a second Drill Peck high rolls and gets the knockout. Arcanine comes in last and gets a critical hit Flamethrower on Kain as I use Dig, which I'll be honest does much lower than I expected it to. I switch to Rock, who can take the tiger dog thing out with an Earthquake, thus winning me the battle and the run. Well, that was easy, to no one's surprise. EVs really do make vanilla games quite easy. But the best thing for the run was getting to use Jiding with no worry in the world. Somehow, I was never punished on playing around so many crits, and this made the second half of the game a breeze. The next challenge in this series will be a Poison types only run, which was actually attempted before this run, so it includes Crobat and EVs as well. I did both these challenges between 2 difficult ROM hacks, so wanted something light and easy. For future monotype runs, I will not be using EVs and will ban Gen 2 and 3 Pokemon as well. I hope you enjoyed Jiding's escapades though. If you did, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button as it greatly helps me out. If you disagreed with anything or felt there were moments where I could have made better plays, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. See ya.